All right, hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
It's good to be back.
Today we're tackling something that I think a lot of people wonder about.
Mm-hmm.
Can men and women really just be friends?
Oh, especially when
Cuddlings and all.
cuddling gets thrown into the mix. And we are diving deep
Mm-hmm.
into a Reddit post that really generated a ton of conversation.
This one's a good one.
It was on the Ask Men Advice subreddit.
Yeah.
And this woman, she shared that she's got this male friend and he wants to cuddle, but like, quote, platonically.
Platonically.
Right.
So she wanted to know from the men, is this guy being genuine or is there something else going on?
Yeah. What's his angle?
And over 200 comments
Wow.
came flooding in.
That's a lot of attention.
Lots of different viewpoints.
Yeah.
But we were going to try to unpack this whole thing, understand the different perspectives.
So what people are saying.
And ultimately, try to help you figure out, all right, what is really going on in this type of situation and what does it all mean?
What does it mean for you?
What does it mean for you?
Yeah.
So get ready, because the Reddit community did not hold back.
No, they did not.
They had a lot to say.
Right off the bat, there was a lot of skepticism.
Really?
Like a lot of people, men and women,
Both men and women.
just didn't buy this whole just cuddling thing.
Interesting.
Like one commenter said, he is hoping you will make it sexual.
Wow. Straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Another one said, he wants to have sex with you, but also realizes that's not what you want because you want a boyfriend.
Ooh, adding another layer to it.
Yeah, it gets complicated.
So it sounds like a lot of people are thinking
There's an ulterior motive.
there's something else going on.
Yeah.
It's not just innocent cuddling.
It's not just about the cuddles, and
Yeah.
this is where this whole idea of the friend zone comes in.
Oh, yeah, the dreaded friend zone.
The friend zone.
Tell me more about that.
A lot of people saw this cuddling proposition as like a classic friend zone tactic.
Okay.
Like he's trying to maneuver himself into a more intimate relationship,
I see.
but without having to actually commit.
Without the commitment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there a psychological reason why this is such a common tactic?
Well, you can't really ignore the power of touch.
Touch.
Like physically.
Right, physical touch.
Even if you're thinking it's platonic, cuddling releases oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
The cuddle hormone, as they call
the
it.
cuddle hormone.
It makes you feel good.
So that makes sense then.
Yeah.
It's like you get that rush,
You get that rush.
and suddenly maybe things aren't so platonic anymore.
The lines can get blurry.
The lines get blurry.
Exactly.
So even if a guy, starts out
The best of intentions.
with the best of intentions, yeah, that oxytocin could lead to something.
It can be a slippery slope.
It can be a slippery slope.
Yeah.
All right, that's fascinating.
And it's hard.
What I thought was really interesting is that not everyone in the comments
Not
was buying into that whole, he's using her narrative.
Oh, right.
There were some people who actually defended the idea of platonic cuddling.
They did.
One person even compared it to professional cuddling services.
Which, they exist.
They're a real thing, which I had no idea about.
They are, and they kind of highlight
Right,
that
right.
people need physical touch.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be sexual.
It doesn't have to be sexual.
Oh, right.
So I guess that challenges the assumption that cuddling always have to lead to something more.
Yeah, and it's like, think about hugs from friends or, cuddling with your pet.
With your dog, yeah.
Those things release oxytocin, too.
Interesting.
And it makes you feel good,
Yeah.
but there's nothing romantic about
There's
it.
no romance there.
Right.
Okay, so it's possible, maybe,
Possible.
that he really does just want to cuddle.
Maybe.
But
But there's a twist.
there's a twist.
This is where it gets juicy.
What is it?
Apparently, this guy is in love with someone else.
Oh, okay, so there's another person in the picture. And he can't be with her?
He can't be with her for whatever reason.
Hmm.
So now it's like,
So now it's is he looking for...
is he trying to fill a void?
Trying to fill a void
Yeah, is he just looking for
with this
some-
other woman?
Yeah, comfort.
Comfort and connection.
Yeah, because he can't get it from the person he really wants.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And it makes you think, is this really fair
to the woman?
to the woman who's cuddling with him?
Yeah, because she might not even know.
Right, she's getting mixed signals.
Mixed signals.
Yeah, it's not clear.
So this is where boundaries
Right,
become
really, really important.
super important,
Yeah, she needs to figure out what she's okay with.
which she's okay with.
Regardless of what's going on with him.
Right, like her own needs and her own
limits.
limits.
Yeah, what's comfortable for her.
So the comments, a lot of people, particularly women,
Yeah, a lot of women were saying,
were saying that she's got to set some boundaries.
yeah, be careful, don't get caught up
Don't get caught up
in this messy situation.
in this messy situation.
Yeah, where the lines are all blurry.
Like one commenter said, don't seek intimacy from men who aren't interested in you.
Ooh, that's
Harsh but true.
harsh but true.
Yeah,
But maybe that's what she needs to hear.
maybe so.
So how do you actually do that?
How do you set those boundaries?
How do you communicate what you need?
Especially if you're worried about, hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, without ruining the friendship.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to get into next.
Exactly.
But first, if you are enjoying this deep dive, please hit that subscribe button
Subscribe to Voices of the Soul.
wherever you get your podcasts.
We'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you as part of the Deep Dive community.
And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel.
You can find us at Shauna Polich.
Lots of bonus content there.
Bonus content.
Behind the scenes stuff.
Behind the scenes, all that good stuff.
And we'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back.
All right, so we're back.
Okay.
And before we get into like the whole boundaries thing,
Yeah.
we were talking about how this guy is in love with somebody else.
Right. This other girl he can't be with.
It really makes things
It adds a whole other layer.
a whole other layer to this whole platonic cuddling thing.
Because even if, like, if we forget about, like, can men and women even be friends?
Yeah.
This guy's, like, by definition,
He's not available.
he's not emotionally available.
Right.
So it's like,
She really needs to be honest with herself about what she's looking for.
she wants out of this.
Out of this whole situation. Like, is she really, truly...
like, deep down.
knowing that he has feelings for her.
Hoped out, is that enough for her?
Or is there a part of her that's like...
maybe hoping
for something more.
Maybe this will turn into something.
Turn into something real.
Yeah, and that's the case.
Oh.
Then she's setting herself
For
up
a world of hurt.
for disappointment.
Yeah. Because he's just not in the right headspace.
He's not there.
He's not there.
And this is why it's so important to be aware of
unrequited love.
Unrequited love.
Like when those feelings aren't reciprocated.
Yeah, because it's not just about cuddling. It's like...
it can happen in any relationship.
Any relationship.
Friendships, work relationships.
Yeah.
It's important to be aware of it.
So what would you say to someone who's like kind of stuck in this situation?
Good question.
Where it's like there's physical intimacy,
yeah,
but the emotional boundaries are...
blurry.
Like,
what advice would you give them?
Yeah, because I feel like that's
something a lot of people struggle with.
A lot of people deal with this.
Yeah, so I would say first, be really, really honest with yourself.
Oh, about your own
feelings.
Your own feelings.
What do you want?
Yeah, what are you really looking for?
Are you okay with just being friends? Or do you want more? Or is there something more there?
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps.
What's that?
To talk to somebody about it.
Like a friend?
A friend, a theorist.
To get an outside perspective.
Yeah, somebody who can be objective.
Because when you're in it...
it's hard to see clearly.
It's hard to see clearly.
Yeah.
And then what's the second piece of advice?
Second, and this is key. Set boundaries.
Boundaries, yes.
Like clear boundaries.
How do you do that?
Yeah, especially when you don't want to...
hurt feelings.
Hurt
things up.
Jeopardize the friendship.
Yeah.
I think it starts with communication. Like, sit down with the person and just be upfront about your expectations.
So, like, in this case, the woman could say...
she could say something like, I really enjoy spending time with you, but I'm not looking for a romantic relationship.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to cuddle as friends.
As friends.
But I need you to know that that's all it is.
I see.
Lay it all out there.
What if they're not cool with that?
What if they...
like, what if they don't respect those boundaries?
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Big red flag.
Like, they keep pushing.
They keep pushing.
Yeah, or they make you feel uncomfortable.
That's not okay.
Not okay.
It means they don't respect you.
Ooh, okay.
And in that case, you might need to...
step back
from the whole
the whole friendship.
Even if it's hard.
Even if it hurts.
It might be the best thing for you.
For your own.
For your own well-being.
So let's say, hypothetically, you set those boundaries.
You have to talk.
And you decide, you know what? I'm going to stay friends with this person.
Okay.
But I still want to cuddle.
You still need that physical touch.
Is there a way to do that?
Like all the drama.
Without getting messy?
That is a great question.
Right.
And it takes us back to...
what's that?
Professional cuddling.
Oh, yeah, the professional cuddles.
I know, it sounds a little
weird.
A little out there.
Yeah.
It's a way to get that touch.
That physical touch.
In a safe environment.
Without all the relationships.
Without the complications.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Like when I first heard of it, I was like, what?
No.
Is this a real thing?
People actually do this.
But I guess if you really need that closeness.
Yeah, and you don't want the relationship.
But you're not looking for a relationship.
There can be an option.
A healthy option.
A healthy option. There's also...
cuddle parties.
Cuddle parties.
You've
heard of these?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Like there's social events.
For people just cuddle.
Just cuddle.
Platonically. I mean, it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
But it's out there.
It's another option.
Another option.
To get your cuddle.
Right.
On this whole deep dive.
I'm learning so much.
It's making me rethink.
It's about cuddling.
About cuddling. Intimacy.
I never even thought about it this way.
Yeah, we tend to think of intimacy.
Only in romantic relationships.
Exactly. But there's so many forms.
It's a whole spectrum.
A whole spectrum of intimacy.
And maybe those other forms.
They can be just as fulfilling.
Just as fulfilling.
Maybe even more so.
Maybe even more so.
So...
as we wrap up this part.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everyone listening.
Yeah.
To really think about...
what do you need?
Your own needs.
When it comes to touch.
When it comes to touch.
Yeah.
Like what makes you feel good?
What makes you feel
What
good?
are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
What are your boundaries? Wow. And are you compromising those boundaries?
Ooh, good.
To get your needs met?
And speaking of needs,
Yes.
if you need more of this kind of content,
If you're enjoying this deep dive
make sure you subscribe
to Voices of the Soul,
wherever you get your
you can
podcasts.
also find us on YouTube at Shauna Polich.
We'd love to have you as part of the deep dive community.
We'll be right back.
Ah,
Okay, so we're back.
we are.
And it's time to like tie this whole thing together.
Wrap it all up.
We've talked about like the friend zone and oxytocin and boundaries.
So many different perspectives.
It really seems like it's easy
Yeah.
to get those lines blurred
Yeah.
between like what's platonic,
And what's romantic?
especially when you throw cuddling into the mix.
Exactly. It's like,
What if
we kind of challenge that whole
That
assumption?
cuddling always has to be romantic?
Yeah, like what if it's not
What if it's just,
just a human need?
yeah, like we all need touch.
We all need touch.
And it doesn't have to be, you know, tied to romance.
doesn't have to lead to something more.
It can just be about connection.
Connection.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole deep dive,
It's really made me think.
it's made me think differently about like intimacy.
Intimacy doesn't have to
It
be.
doesn't always have to be romantic.
Right. Like, it's not just about romantic
It's like-
relationships.
So many ways.
So many other ways to experience intimacy.
And those other ways, they can be just as
Meaningful.
meaningful and fulfilling.
So for everyone listening out there,
If you're trying to figure this out,
trying to figure this out in your own life.
yeah,
Like, what does all of this mean?
for you.
What does this mean for you?
I think it all comes down to
Like, understanding yourself.
understanding yourself,
Knowing your needs.
knowing your needs,
And communicating those needs to other people.
with the people you're close to.
So if you're someone who's like, okay, touch is important to me.
It's how you feel loved.
How you feel loved. Yeah.
Then you have to figure out
Yeah.
what are the healthy ways
That I can get that need met.
that work for you.
That worked for me. Yeah.
Maybe it's through your friendship, spending time with family.
Mhm.
Maybe you explore like dancing.
Dancing,
waltzing,
yoga.
Yeah, things that involve touch.
But it's like a safe
It's
environment.
Right.
So many possibilities.
There are.
And sometimes, like, by looking at those other options, you
Yeah.
might realize, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to cuddle with this guy.
Maybe there's other ways.
Other ways to get those needs met.
to feel that connection.
Right. It doesn't have to
It
be.
doesn't have to be this one specific thing.
Yeah. So this has been
Quite the deep dive.
quite the deep dive, I feel like.
We've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot.
I hope our listeners have too.
I hope so too. And if you enjoyed it,
If you want more.
make sure you subscribe to Voices of the Soul.
Yeah, wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you want some bonus content, behind the scenes stuff,
We're on YouTube.
we're on YouTube at Shauna Polich.
We'd love to have you as part of the community.
Until next time, keep
Wow.
those minds curious.
Torch hearts open.
See you later.